What's going on? Welcome back to the Asymmetrical Athlete YouTube and podcast. Today, let's talk about how to not be a victim. Eliza Fletcher was a 34-year-old female who was out for a jog around 4:30 a.m. in Memphis, Tennessee. She was forced into a Suburban and later was killed, and a man has been charged with that murder. We've seen it all on all social media, and we've seen it happen over and over and time again. And unfortunately, we haven't done much about it. As a society, it's kind of like all we want to do about it is bitch about it on social media. We make posts that say we should be able to go out jogging anytime we want. And we make posts that say women can wear whatever they want and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And there's just huge issues with that. Some of the biggest issues are there are inherent dangers throughout this entire world. No matter where you live, no matter what country you live in, no matter what city, what town, what suburban area, there are dangers everywhere. And it's not just for women. It's for children, it's for men, it's for everybody. Nobody is immune to the dangers that are out there. Nobody. According to RAINN.org, about every 68 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of those people are between 18 and 34 years old. 1 in 6 women have been a victim of rape or attempted rape. College students are 3 times more likely to have a rape or an attempted rape. 1 in 33 men have been a victim of sexual assault. According to Child Crime Prevention and Safety Center, every 40 seconds, a child goes missing. Half of those are family kidnappings. 27% are kidnapped by people they know. While many cases do get resolved within around 24 hours, there are still thousands of children out there that have been kidnapped and are still gone. According to OJP.gov, 1.8 million women are physically assaulted per year. 54% of those are under 18 years old. According to Statista.com, 62,552 females that were kidnapped were over 21 years old. But 194,673 of them were under 21 years old. Crime, as we know it today, has been around since the dawn of time. If you're somebody who reads the Bible, the old story about Cain and Abel, right? You are never going to be able to have people not commit crimes. Since the caveman days when dudes would whack a woman over the head with a stick and drag them back to their cave, since, for centuries upon centuries now, women have been treated almost like subhuman. I was just talking to my son the other day about World War II and how almost every single military-aged male left to go over to either Europe or Japan and fight. And the only people that were left in America were women. And what did the women do? They got out of the kitchen, they rolled their sleeves, and they started making fucking tanks and fucking bombs so we could go kill people. To me, especially because I grew up with my grandmother, I don't think women are subhuman or deserve to stay in the kitchen or anything. Granted, there are tons of memes out there and jokes out there, and yes, they are funny, and yes, everybody laughs. However, I still know people today that think that their wives shouldn't have a job because they're women and they need to stay at home and take care of the children. And it blows my fucking mind. It really does. Now, again, this is not just about women. This is also about, young men and children as well. Okay? We know that we can't control all the crime. We can't control somebody from raping somebody. We can't control somebody from killing somebody or somebody from kidnapping somebody. We can't control how they're going to do that. We can't control what they are thinking. However, we can control how we react to it and how we are prepared to go about handling it. Now, women, children, and most young men are generally going to be smaller and weaker, if you will, than most of the predatory males that are out there. Most of the predatory males that are out there grew up in broken homes. They grew up fighting and being abused since they were little kids. They are accustomed to pain and discomfort, and they have no issues with dealing out that same pain and discomfort to other people, especially people who they feel are beneath them, people that are smaller or weaker or of a different sex. These same people generally grew up either seeing their mothers or sisters get beat or raped, being okay with women getting beat and raped, and doing it themselves. Now, like I said before, for many centuries, women have been told to stay in the kitchen, that they don't need to be out there doing this and that and the other. Kids have been told they can't do this, that, and the other. And some, young men are told the same thing. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. Because right here, right now, is the best time that we have ever seen in the history of this earth, to our knowledge, that women and children and young men can go out and not be victims. They can go out and they can get training in self-defense and firearms and all forms of fighting and all knowledge of anything that is in that realm of fighting. Okay? Now, granted, I may have a different background and past of some of the people out there, but I look on my social media and I look at my friends list, and what do I see? I see MMA trainers. I see MMA fighters. I see professional shooters, right? I see strength and conditioning coaches. I see BJJ black belts, BJJ practitioners, BJJ coaches, self-defense instructors, Krav Maga coaches, and on and on and on. Now, I just had a conversation with somebody on Instagram about this topic, and it was a female, and she told me, it's funny because I have a lot of women that will DM me and ask me questions about shooting. And, she said that I'm not a professional or an instructor or anything. I'm just a civilian. But the women feel they can reach out to me because I'm another woman. And that is something we need to get over. Because every one of those dudes that I know would be happy, more than ecstatic, to give out free information to anyone that contacted them. If anybody contacted any one of these guys and said, hey, listen, I feel like I'm a victim right now. I don't want to feel that way anymore. I'm scared to go to Walmart or go to, out of my house at night or whatever. Please tell me some things I can do to help me. Dude, I don't know a single fucking person, not one, that would not go out of their way to help anybody who asks that. And if there is somebody out there, you fucking call them out, because I guarantee I will plaster them all over everything and make them be a giant fucking piece of shit. Now, that goes right into saying, if you are female, if you are, younger, if you are a smaller statured person, right? And you feel that you're not as strong, or you're not as well equipped, or you don't know how to fight, or anything like that, and you think that you're scared to go out at night, to go to the gas stations, to do anything like that, I'm going to ask you, what have you done to change that? Anything? Have you done anything to change that? And if your answer is no, I'm going to ask you why. why haven't you? It's not hard. I mean, you can turn on the TV every Saturday night and there's an MMA fight on. So it's out there. The training's out there. There's a ton of people that are more than happy to coach you doing that stuff. It may cost a little time, it may cost a little bit of money, but in the end, are you going to be a better person for it? I mean, that's up to you, right? Now, when we have our kids first go out into public, maybe the first thing they do is, hey mom, hey dad, can I go grab that toy that I saw 4 aisles over in Walmart? And you're like, oh fuck man, little Timmy, he's fucking 7 years old. And you're like, all right, yes you can, but go straight there, come straight back, don't talk to anybody, do that. And you give them a whole fucking list of shit, right? When kids first ride their bikes to school, hey, don't fucking talk to strangers, don't get in anybody's car. I mean, again, there's a list of shit, right? Why don't we have those same lists as humans, or as adults, I mean? Why don't we have that? If you're, again, if you're a female and you feel scared because, you're afraid of going somewhere, why don't you have a list? Don't do this, don't do this. Hey, have a friend, always have your phone on you, always do this, always have a weapon on you, a mace, a knife, gun, whatever it may be, right? That seems something that seems pretty logical that you would do. And maybe you do it. Maybe you are that person who only gets a car where the gas tank is on the driver's side, so you don't have to walk all the way over to the other side of your vehicle and feel exposed. You can put your gas in and get right back in your car seat and lock the door if need be, right? Maybe you're that person that always has their phone out. That way, if it happens, you can just, ask Siri or whoever to call 911. Maybe you're that person that always takes your dog with you. And maybe it's not even a ferocious dog, but it's a dog. It's something, right? Maybe you are that person and you just need a little bit more help. You need a little bit of push, right? Dude, I'm here to give you that push. I'm here. There's been, since I started this YouTube channel, there's probably been 30 people that reached out to me asking me all kinds of different stuff. And I've been more than happy to answer any question that I can. Another thing, and this is gonna sound bad, and I already know it's gonna sound bad, but I don't give a fuck. Women, if you're already scared to go to certain places and you already know how the men in those areas act, do you think it's a good idea to wear certain types of clothing to elicit a response from those people? Think about that. Okay? I know where I live in a semi-rural area that if a woman went to Walmart wearing a thong, every single dude would look at her and stare at her ass, right? Probably almost anywhere that would happen. Now, I don't know a single person that would go up and smack her ass. I don't think anybody would, because I think where I live, if somebody saw that, they would get called out on it immediately and something would happen. Okay? But not everybody lives where I live. If you live in a worse neighborhood, a more populous neighborhood, maybe someplace that it's common practice for men to do weird shit like that, then why would you wear that? Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, I should be able to wear whatever I want. And to a point, I agree, right? You should be. However, as we've already discussed, I can't stop assholes from being assholes. I can't do it. Nobody can. Assholes are going to be assholes. So if you already know they're going to be assholes, why would you give them an open door to be an asshole to you? All right? And I'm not saying that everybody's got to go out and look like, dress head to toe like, a Muslim chick or anything like that. It's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to wear anything you want, because I wholeheartedly agree that you should. I'm just saying, be aware of your surroundings, right? Be vigilant. Know how people act in that area if you're going to go there, right? Now, I truly and honestly believe that the reason why women think they are and perceive to be, and the way the media plays out, everybody sees them as victims, is because how we are as a society. Like I've already discussed, for hundreds and hundreds of years, we have been, women are in the kitchen, they raise the kids, men do all this stuff, right? Times have been changing for a long time. Like I said before, World War II, man, our ladies in America, dude, they rolled up their sleeves and they started making bullets and tanks and bombs and planes and all kinds of cool shit. And since then, it's been a free-for-all. Women, you go do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm all for it. You want to go do this, that, and the other? It's awesome. I love watching women's MMA. You know why? Because especially more than a man, women will go out there and they'll put on 100% because they feel like they have something to prove. And every time they go out there, man, it is a fucking barn burner. 99% of the time, we'll say that. And men's fighting is not that way. But women, man, they get after it, and it's fucking awesome, right? But as a society, we have suppressed them and oppressed them, and I'll admit it, we have. As a society, we have told them, hey, don't get into a fight. That's not ladylike, right? That's not ladylike. You can't do this, you can't do that. But what's ladylike? Like, tell me this, if somebody's going to assault your daughter, wouldn't you want your daughter to cut their dick off? Is that very ladylike? Fuck yes it is. Fuck yes it is. And along those lines, I see women out there that spend hundreds of dollars at the gym, like CrossFit gyms, hundreds of dollars at fucking Starbucks, hundreds of dollars getting their hair done, hundreds of dollars getting their nails done, all to look good, right? Because it makes them feel good, and men like to look at them, and they want men to look at them, and all that good stuff, right? What if, ladies, you were to put a little bit of that money, go into a boxing gym, or BJJ, or whatever, Krav Maga, or shooting, or take a knife fighting class, or anything. You could even go to, the Sheepdog Response. They have a class that's just about your surroundings, right? Just to get those pre-context clues of, oh fuck, that dude looks fucking creepy. Because you know what? We already have something for that. We already have this little piece in our lizard brain that tells us, hey, you know what? Something's not fucking right. That little gut instinct, as we call it, where you're like, somebody's fucking looking at me. What the fuck's going on? Oh, that ain't right. Why is this dude following me? All that stuff, that's there for a fucking reason. When we evolved, or God made us, or however the fuck you want to see it, we have that little lizard brain part of us in there, and that's there for a reason. It's there to tell us, hey, get the fuck out of this situation, right? If you could harness that little part of that lizard brain to where you went to Tony Blauer and got, into his spear system, and he teaches you how to use that startle flinch response to where if somebody's going to hit you, you can use that against them, because everybody does generally the same thing when we flinch, right? We can use that against people that are going to be assholes to us. Same with children, right? Both my kids were in Krav Maga when they were younger. Granted, they're not going to be able to beat the fuck out of an adult. I'm not expecting them. But you know what they can do? They can last for 30 seconds or a minute, and they can scream their little heads off. That way other adults in the area can hear it, because I don't give a fuck where you live or where you're from. If a fucking kid is screaming, saying, help me, every fucking adult there is going to go help that kid. Everyone. Man, woman, black, white, it doesn't fucking matter. If a fucking kid is screaming, help me, this isn't my daddy, or whatever, everybody's gonna fucking run. And then you're gonna see some women that you didn't think were badass beat the living fuck out of some asshole. And that's a fact, because you can see that all over YouTube. The fucking claws come out of women, I tell you what, and they'll fuck that dude up, and I'll be standing there like this, happy as shit to watch it, because that dude fucking deserves it, because that's not his fucking kid, right? Okay. Now, some of the things you can do, right? We already talked about, maybe go to a BJJ class or boxing or anything like that. And I understand, ladies, I really do. And for kids too, and even for young men, right? It's fucking scary, because you're walking into a place that's very unfamiliar. You're going in there and you're saying, you have to admit to a stranger that you don't know what you're doing, or that you're weak, or that you're scared. You have to admit all that. and you have to admit that you don't know how to do this thing they're doing and that it's scary to you. But I'm going to tell you right now, you go into those places, any one of those places, and you say, hey, listen, I'm fucking scared to walk home at night. I don't want to be scared anymore. Every one of those people are going to do absolutely everything they can do to help you. There's not a single fucking person that's going to make fun of you. There's not a single person that's going to talk shit to you. Nothing. What you're going to find is you're going to find friends, and you're going to find other people that are like, oh, where do you live, dude? Fuck it, I'll walk you home. No problem, man. I got you. I'll walk you out to your car. You're going to find that. And then before you know it, you're going to be that person that sees that new guy come in and says, hey, I'll walk you. We can go out to the car together. I'll be your fucking battle buddy. Right? 2 is better than none, right? We're good to go. And you're going to be that person stepping up. So what if you don't want to fight? You don't want to learn how to punch somebody. Well, you got to learn something, right? So there's other options. There's guns, there's knives, there's, mace isn't the greatest, but it's there, But maybe you're telling me, hey, I'm like an uber liberal. I don't like fucking guns, they fucking scare me a little bit. I get it. I know people who don't like guns, and that's okay. Like, they can be a little scary if you've never dealt with them. I get that. So you have a couple options. A, you can go to gun classes, right? You can get really familiar with your guns. And if you still don't want to do that, then you can go to knife fighting classes. They're few and far between. I've taken a couple. I've never been in an actual, knife fight. Like, I pull out a switchblade, he pulls out a butterfly knife, and we go to town, like the 80s. Never done that. But I know something. I know a thing or two, right? But what's better than anything is doing something, right? So if a dude does grab you, does attack you, does try to force you into that SUV, like Eliza, right? You can take that knife out and you can stick it in this person, and you can twist it, and you can rake it across, and you can slash, and you can jab, you can do all that stuff to where the son of a bitch is bleeding everywhere, right? To where he knows that he fucked up. He knows that, I picked the wrong motherfucker today. I thought this lady was going to be a fucking easy pickings, and she just sliced my inner leg, and now my femoral artery is draining out, and now I'm going to be dead in about 3 minutes. That's good on you, man. That's a fucking win. But you know what? Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe that's, again, a little too gruesome, a little too, crazy for you, because you're not a fighter. You don't like that stuff. That's not about you. Well, if you don't like guns, you don't like knives, you don't want to learn how to fight, you don't want to learn how to defend yourself, you can either A, kind of keep locked up in your house all the time, which is not very fun. You can go with a buddy or a couple buddies all the time, everywhere you go, again, which is not too realistic. But we also have one last option. You can get a dog, right? Now, me, I paid a lot of money for my dog. And my dog has been trained, not to some super Delta Force standard or anything like that, no. But she's been trained to bite people. She's been trained to defend us. And I've put her through scenarios and situations to where I know for a fact that if it came down to it, she would do this. I have no issues of her biting somebody, because if somebody's not a threat to us, she has never, ever shown any aggression towards anything that wasn't a threat. Now, these dogs are expensive. I have a Belgian Malinois. She cost me about $3,000. On top of that, about another 2 in training, and then a whole bunch of money for, bite toys and things like that, right? But if you're a lady who goes out and does morning hikes almost every day, and you're out by yourself, and you're on trails that maybe homeless people are at, or you're in the neighborhood, and maybe you don't live in the best neighborhood in the world, right? And you want to feel safer, and you have this 65-pound Malinois, female, male, it doesn't matter. They're all equally aggressive. And somebody tries to force you in an SUV, that dog is going to eat their fucking face. That's guaranteed. Colorado, this summer, we had a lady who was walking with her Malinois. This Malinois was not a bite dog. It was not trained. It was just a family dog, okay? But see, we have been training these dogs for a couple, about 100 years or so as bite dogs. We have genetically modified these dogs to be fucking awesome, for lack of a better term, right? So this lady had this dog. She was walking in the mountains. She was taking a little hike, and a fucking mountain lion came out. The mountain lion jumped on her. Her dog, again, like a 60-pound female Mal, grabbed this fucking mountain lion and started ripping it to shreds. The mountain lion eventually scratched the fuck out of the dog and bit the dog's head and punctured its head a little bit, and eventually won the fight, right? But the dog won the fight instantly, okay? The mountain lion left, it ran away, the lady was fine. She grabbed her dog, who was bleeding profusely, took it to the vet. The vet was unable to save the dog, unfortunately. You take this animal that knows nothing but you guys. That's their only family. That's where all their love is. And then you take a dog who has been genetically bred and sought out to do a certain job. Regardless if that dog's trained or not, that dog is going to do that fucking job, right? My Mal, again, she's bite trained, yes, okay? But I've never, there's different levels to this, right? And she's not on that top tier level, not by any means. But I know for a fact that she's at a level in her head where she knows who her family is, she knows who she loves, and she will give her fucking life for any one of us. And I know that. Now, with all that being said, right, it all comes down to this. If you're okay with being a victim, and you're okay with being scared to go to the grocery store, or being scared to go out for a jog, or being scared for this, that, and the other, then I can't help you. It's just the way it is. Can't help you at all. But if you're not okay with that, if you don't want to be a victim, if you don't want to be scared, if you don't want to be worried about this shit, then there's something we can do. I have friends almost all over this entire United States. If I don't have friends there, I have friends who know friends that are there, almost guaranteed. Guaranteed there is some sort of self-defense class wherever you live, and a little bit of knowledge is better than no knowledge at all. And not every instructor is going to be the best fit for you, and you might have to go to 2 or 3 before you figure out what you really want to do. Maybe you thought boxing was the best, but you don't like getting punched in the face, so you went to BJJ and now you love it because BJJ is a whole different world than boxing, right? Maybe you have a daughter and you don't want your daughter to be a victim, so you know what you do? When she's a freshman in high school, you encourage her to get into wrestling. And now she's a wrestler. And those are some of the toughest fucking people on the planet. And now she's a wrestler. And if any boy tries some bullshit on her on a Friday night at the movie theater, you know she can defend herself just because of what she's been through in the wrestling room, right? Yeah, maybe she can't beat the shit out of a man, but she can hold her own for a little while, and she can let him know that he's been in a fight, right? Again, maybe you don't want to hit somebody in the face because you're scared, but you're willing to carry a knife on you. And you're like, listen, I'll carry a knife. I just want to know how to use it. And then you buy a knife, and you buy a training knife, and you get a little plywood thing or some cardboard at your house, and you practice drawing it out and stabbing it, and you go through all these scenarios in your head, and you go through the whole gamut of what could possibly happen. And you do that over and over and over, and through 1,000 repetitions, then after that, you're finally like, I'm comfortable. I know that if something came down, I'm able to do this. Or let's say you want to carry a gun and you're like, I don't know what to do. So you go to a gun store and these guys are more than happy to help you out. And you pick the right gun that fits your hand good, that you can rack the slide easy, that holds enough rounds for you, and you get a perfect holster, and you get maybe a belly band to go running in, or a fanny pack, what have you, right? And you practice from that concealment, and you practice, hey, if somebody grabs me like this, I'm going to do this. But if they do this, I have to do this. And you go through repetition after repetition after repetition. And you go to the range, and before you know it, you make 10 new friends at the fucking gun range. And now it's a weekend thing. You go out there shooting all the time. And now you're awesome. And now everybody looks to you for firearm advice. All right? But maybe you don't know any of that. And maybe you're like, listen, I just want to feel protected right fucking now. And maybe you are a little bit more well off than some other people. So you call a dog trainer and you drop 25, 30, 40 grand on a fully formed protection dog, and you bring that dog in and you show that dog love, and you let that dog sleep in your bed, and that dog wakes you up every morning, you go out jogging with that dog, and then you know for a fact that dog is going to do everything in their power and capability to save your life. Listen, folks, I can't make you get out there and train. Can't do it, right? Can't make you go to the gym. Can't make you get stronger. Can't make you get faster. Can't make you learn self-defense. Can't do it. But I can put that thought in your head. If that thought's in your head in a little bit, and if you have just a little bit of, fuck man, maybe I don't want to be a victim. Maybe buying a gun is a good idea, right? Just that little bitty thought. Then that's your first step. And you've won, right? You've beat that. The next thing is I need to reach out to somebody. I need to ask them, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this, right? And I'm telling you, you're going to open up all kinds of stuff for yourself, because no matter what lane you go down, you're never going to be a fucking victim again. You're never going to have that mentality. You're never going to say, well, I should just be able to wear whatever I want. Because you're going to be able to wear whatever you want. Because you know nobody's going to fucking say or do shit to you, because you have the ability and the means to defend yourself. And that's all I got today. Hey, listen, if you are interested in any of this stuff, hit me up. Send me a message. Find me on Instagram, on YouTube, podcast, what have you. Send me a message, and I will do anything I possibly can to help you out. All right? Boy, girl, man, woman, child, no color, creed, none of that shit fucking matters to me. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. You fucking reach out to me and say, hey, I have a question. Can I ask you a question? I'm going to help you answer any question you want. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to point you in the right direction to get the right questions answered from the right people. All right? All right, that's all I got. Hey, ask yourself every day when you wake up, are you an asset or a liability?